Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to what will be the final episode of the King's Indian speedrun. After this, I was able to keep using the setup and win games, but I felt like it was more because of my skill as a Grandmaster and less about the opening. So I decided to stop it here because I thought that it became less instructive afterwards. So enjoy this final segment up to 2000 ELO. We're gonna go for the usual. No, don't tell me. We're at 1900. I was gonna say, are people still doing that? Now, it seems to me like pawn to d5 would be a very strong move here. Anytime I can lay some claim to the center like that, I think I think this is asking to be played. Other moves that I'd consider, maybe like, you know, c6, d5, stuff like that, but I think d5 is relatively instructive. That our bishop opens up here, knight gets in the middle. We have to be happy with this. Knight d2 allows knight e3. Probably knight c6 next. That move is surprising. I think let's just keep developing. Knight c3 can't happen. Knight d2 can't happen. White has some small issues to solve, I would say. Bishop back. Interesting. Well, if I play here, I'm not sure I'm a big fan of just giving up my bishop for no reason. So I feel like I want to keep more pieces on the board because of that. The other thing I could try is knight a5, but yeah, I am kind of misplacing the knight there. e5 is a decent move to get in, but let's say everybody trades, he puts the bishop on h6. I mean, it's maybe not the best, but I still think that's better than the other options. The reason I like e5 is because it starts to open the position, and if I look at White's development, I'm not that impressed. So I think I am feeling the e5 move here. I like your suggestion there, Chigorin. b6, bishop b7. That's another very good idea. Definitely. Developing the bishop to a wide open diagonal. But let's choose the forceful option. e5. Just full steam ahead. And yeah, if he takes, we'll take back. And at some point, we can always support this knight on d5 with c6. You know, like pawn here, that's going to be nice against this bishop. Bishop can develop to e6 as well. Knight g5 is certainly interesting. Is there a threat here? Not particularly. I have my knight here as well, so I'm just wondering if I play h6. I think he's going back there. Other thing I can try is like knight g4. Maybe threatens a knight e3 move. c6, as I just mentioned. Guarding that knight on d5. Looks like I kind of have a lot of pretty decent options here. I'm even looking at bishop g4. Yeah, h6, move like that seems kind of simple and strong. So I think I'm gonna start with c6 just to stabilize that knight. Well, that's the move I think I want to see. If I see a move like c4, I know that there's weaknesses in the position. I know they're there. So I think I'm happy. Let's move our knight. Where to is the only question. e6. I'm thinking that this pawn is just sitting there for me to take next move. The only thing he can do is play d4. Now, if he plays d4 and I have to move this knight, if I put my knight on b6, I can just take that pawn on c4. So that's why the first move I'm looking at is knight b6 here. Knight f6 I think is a good move as well. Knight b6 looks maybe the most testing. Because in order to not lose a pawn here, I think he has to work very hard. play some maybe uncomfortable moves, like bishop c2, for example. That's not that nice to play. And if c5, I'm gonna just put my knight straight back there. Or even knight d7, but I was always planning to just play knight back to d5. Blockade, right? If you play c5, remember that's creating a permanent backwards pawn on d3. Okay, so he does do this. Like I said, my plan was to take here. Take on c4. And I mean, in the worst case, I can always play knight back to d6. He's still not developed. That's the weird thing. Like, in general, his plans shouldn't work out without his pieces. He needs his pieces to be part of the action. He's only playing with 3 right now. Also an isolated pawn, but you can also play queen takes d4, for example, next. Just take this guy off. Is knight b2 a threat? Yep. Knight b2 is definitely a threat. This move is particularly poor, it looks like, because it allows knight e3. Now, the one thing is he's also hanging his knight on g5, so I know that this is a bad move, but if I go ahead and take it, bishop takes back, he maintains the protection. So I'm looking at knight e3, and I just want to make sure that my f7 pawn isn't hanging in a bad way. And it kind of looks like it might be. Knight takes f7. You know, that looks a little... It's a little annoying, honestly. Knight takes f7. I don't think I have a very good way to handle things after that. Surprisingly. So that's the move I'd like to play. I don't think it's possible. If I move the knight at all, even like just any move, it looks like knight takes f7 is kind of annoying. So I think I'm just gonna kind of take the high road out and say, look, get rid of your most dangerous piece. And after presumably knight takes, I gotta move my queen, but I think we can just go back. I am hitting the weak pawn in the position. Trades I would be fine with. Knight e5. Maybe I can just play knight back to d5. Protected by my queen and pawn. And get this bishop out to e6. So, yeah, I think if he goes here, I'll play knight d5, followed by bishop e6, and be up a pawn. Let's take this back. So on the previous move, I had so many knight moves, but they looked to me like they were all failing to knight takes f7. Or knight d2, just bishop takes d2. Okay, let's attack that somehow. Maybe this one. So I don't like the pressure here, so if he was to play something like rook e1, be happy to see that. Trades, please. Sign me up for trades. I'm interested. Now we finally got rid of the pressure on f7. My bishop on g7 is great. And also, after he takes here, he's gonna have to deal with the A pawn as well. You know, I'm actually thinking he takes, I might even take with the pawn. Looks kind of crazy, but he's got a lot of pawns that might be hanging in that resulting position. But this guy's just dead. This guy's just dead. Can't possibly defend everything. I am gonna play my wild looking pawn takes back. He's got to deal with his d pawn. And I don't think he can protect everything. Let's take that. Let's say no. Not today, pal. Oof. We won the first game. Never a guarantee. Put it in the win column. Thank goodness. I think after d5, black's is just better. Like, white needs to be playing something like knight c3. But in general, a lot of people play this setup with bishop c4, but it really shouldn't work out that well. d5 has to be captured as well because he's just going to lose a pawn otherwise. And here, I mean, there's not a lot that white can do. As I was saying, this bishop can't move because of the pawn on b2 and obviously the knight. This knight can't really move because knight a3 is not that impressive. That drops a pawn, that drops the exchange or a pawn. So none of these pieces can really move. And if you ever play knight d2, you're going to be dropping something to this knight on d5. You don't want to just give away your bishop. I don't know. It's not that easy for white to play, even though it doesn't look like much. The thought behind king h2 I play on the white side. Well, you'll probably see it in a future game here in a sec, but that one we've been talking about for about 1,000 points. When you play h3, when you've got the fianchetto on the white side, you play king h2 to guard that pawn. Because often black sets up his pieces to attack it. Very important. There we go. What opening are we gonna get? Oh, he's doing what we're doing. Fine with me, dude. Fine with me, man. Okay, let's get castled. Probably h3. So for example here, it's a great explanation for what someone was just asking. Why do I play this move? Well, if my whole plan is to play f4 in this position, I don't want to sit on this diagonal, which would be open. It might be vulnerable to a check at some point. So it's safety first, but it's also protecting this pawn. If black plays this move, the only way to guard this pawn is king there. I'm just doing it ahead of time, multi-purpose. Okay, for some reason he plays this move after I've already done that. Don't ask me why. Now I'm gonna play knight here. Plays knight in there. It doesn't look like a good move because I can just get him to leave now. I was gonna play c3 anyways, probably. He goes knight back. Let's continue with our plan. f4. Okay, knight h5. I don't think he's threatening something at the moment, but he might be threatening to threaten. I think I'm going to continue with, I mean, the move f5 looks pretty damn tempting. f5, I'm wondering where this knight goes. I think we might need to go. I'm thinking f5. The only other thing I'm thinking is knight f3. We've done this knight maneuver before where we move the knight from d to f3. Even though it looks like this knight should jump back into the action, this knight often supports some of the pawn pushes. So knight d2 to f3 and f5 are the two moves I'm considering here. f5, if this knight goes to g5, well, first of all, I don't know if that's the best move, honestly, but I think I might continue knight f3, for example, or knight c4. And if he takes, he actually loses the knight on h5. This is called the King's Indian attack rather than King's Indian defense. All right, we've got the knight going back to a, let's call it a subpar square, for lack of a better term. Let's bring this knight in. I really want to play the move g4, but I don't want to deal with bishop e5 check, and then, you know, the knight getting involved. I don't want to deal with g5, maybe trapping my knight. So I've played this. He takes, and number one, if I take everything, maybe there's g4. Number two, I was gonna play the move knight to g5. That also looked like a fun one. So let's play knight g5, of course. Hitting this knight here, also planning to take back. Holy smokes, we just had a back-to-back, didn't we? Was that just totally unplanned at the exact same time? 20 subs from Hashgull and 20 subs from Kothis02. Two guys with the same idea at the same time. Thank you, Hashgull TV and Kothis02. Cheers, boys. Knight back. Okay, as we expected. Let's get our knight into the game. With tempo, mind you. Knight e7 is a massive threat. Yeah, he's going to take us. And I think we want to keep the F file open. So I like rook takes here. Got to secure the 69. Hey, I agree. One step closer. All right. And I believe we just take this one. And this should be close to a checkmate. Might not be a mate, but it's going to win a lot of material. A threatening mate. So I think you got to take my knight. But after you take my knight, I'm going to start hurting you. This doesn't look like it's going to stop me. So sure, I'll take. No problem. I believe it's got to be a capture, right? I've got mate in 1. If he moves the rook, it's just mate in 2. Has to be a capture. And after takes, yeah, there's bishop takes. But I think queen takes check is kind of the way to go. And unfortunately, he doesn't even postpone it that long. So we're going to get a nice checkmate here. Boom. We'll take it. It's a pretty clean win. Pretty quick win. Nice attack there. I mean, anytime someone's doing this, even if you're losing the pawn, it's probably worth it. Like, all the pieces are coordinating. Black's got 3 pieces. They just are not doing anything. If bishop takes, it wouldn't... I mean, it would have saved him in general. He's lucky he's not getting mated here. He has 1 move, knight here. But after check, bishop takes. I mean, he's down full piece here, and he's probably getting mated in all likelihood. So it looked pretty dire for him no matter what. But we just got f4, f5. Our king on h2, as you can see, performing a very important task, guarding the g-pawn, keeping the h-pawn defended, out of danger on the a7, g1 diagonal. So that's nice. And yeah, I think it was a pretty easy game. Just stick to the same plan. c3, knight h4, king h2, all that. Ahmaho. All right, so we're going to start with e4 as usual. We're not going to get tempted into e5 or anything. And after d5, we're going to stick to that knight d2 stuff. Yep. All right, here comes knight f3. And get castle. King h2. The usual. All right. We've seen this setup last game, basically. Nothing new. Nothing new under the sun. Let's play knight h4. Yeah, sometimes we play knight there, but also putting a little more pressure on this diagonal. See if he wants to take or not. I don't really know what he's interested in here. And yes, the move c3, definitely a move I want to get in. I was cautious about playing the move c3 here because I didn't like bishop to a6. Can be kind of annoying. He plays what I would consider to be a pretty good move. Bishop to f8. Just because after knight f5, he may be intending to meet that with g6. And I don't have knight h6 or any fancy moves, so I would have to, I'd have to pretty much move my knight away after doing that. So, how do I want to continue now? I can take and sort of use this diagonal, get some squares for my knight, like knight c4, knight e4. The other thing that we could try to do is bring the knight in immediately. Not sure that he'd take, but if he goes g6 to go back to e3. And again, anytime he closes the position, I'm kind of happy to see it. So that's also a pretty serious option. I think I'll try that just for now to start. Go knight f5. Seems to be the most in line. And yeah, he takes it. I wasn't sure if he was going to. I think it's probably a good move, but We'll see if we can handle this position. We're gonna have some weak dark squares, but we're gonna be playing on the light squares. So if I could get him to play d4, of course, I'm winning a piece, but it's more that if I could get him to put his pawns on dark squares, helps my pieces out tremendously. Not that easy to do though. I mean, he's got simple moves like this to hit the pawn. I think I basically have to play g4, and that's why I was saying we're gonna be pretty weak on the dark squares in this game. Weak on the dark squares, but trying to play for the light square edge. Yeah, so I think that's targeted at that a little bit. Speaking of the dark squares, or sorry, speaking of the light squares rather, I think I'm going to play c4. It's a different move than we're used to, but my opponent has no light square bishop. So I'm looking to open up those light squares where possible. Let's take. And I think it's time to bring this knight in. Probably knight e4. He doesn't want to take, so he should grab the d pawn here, but if he does, he's in for a bit of an unpleasant surprise. For example, knight takes f6, right? He has to take with the knight, and he's going to lose something in the corner. So already the light squares are paying dividends for me. And the follow-up is most likely going to be queen f3, right? We're going to guard our pawn, threaten the rook on a8, and intend bishop to g5, I presume? Hit the knight. I'm just looking at e4 after bishop g5. I'm gonna make sure we're not in some kind of trouble there. And I think e4 is strong enough that I am gonna play rook e1 first. I don't want to deal with this move. Yeah, still want to play bishop there, but of course now he's gonna take the time to improve his position. Not gonna allow it. Let's just play bishop d2. I'm up material though, so we don't need to be too fancy here. Bishop c3. Again, any knight takes bishop thing I'm not unhappy with, because that's just going to be more trades for me. Let's put the king on a light square. Feels a little bit safer when it's not not being attacked there like that. f6 is a very committal move. I'm not so sure I like it for him. Queen g4 and maybe bishop d2. This move I again don't like for him because he's just making more weaknesses for me to target. As black, he should be trying to be more solid here because he's down material. But instead, he's pushing forward as if he's like almost playing for an edge or something. And he does not need to be doing that. Okay, threat there, which is why he played that. Think how we want to continue here. a4 looks pretty tempting in general. This move threatens bishop h6, but I'm not sure if it's it's hard for me to tell if that's like a very good move or not. I mean, I'll play it just to make a threat, but in all likelihood I think I'm gonna have to return to the e4 square. Like if he makes a threat like that, probably have to put our queen there. Okay, we got him to play king h8. That's something. Okay, rook e4. a4 might get me an open file. At this point, when I have the rooks, I need to open something up, because if I don't, then I'll really never be able to make progress. And I'm probably ready to sack some pawns here. Bishop e3. Take this. Bishop e3 looks right. Queen g6. Yeah, I'm not so sure bishop h6 is really a threat there. Here, bishop takes c5 looks right. Okay, well, we traded a pawn. Seems fine for me. My queen's protected, so there's no tricks to win it, it seems. Just tickle the rook. I'm gonna put my king on a square where there's no checks. So now he's really in a pin. Bring that back. Again, knight takes. I'd like to trade the queens, so it's kind of actually okay for me. I think I'll play a4 next. a4, look to trade. I need to do something with this rook. I'm not sure what it's going to be yet. Now there's some bishop h6 tricks that we want to look out for. Whoa. Start by taking here. Definitely a bit of an odd one there. But yeah, rook here, rook there. Also bishop here. Rook takes b4. I think we're starting to put, I don't know, there's pressure on all sides here. Hitting the bishop as well. So bishop there, we'll go rook b7. And also, yeah, if we kick the knight away as well, then that looks pretty dangerous. GG. Yeah, we started to crash through on both sides of the board. That's the reason it got dangerous. But I can say that I think it'd be very tough to convert this this advantage, even though it is a clear advantage, rook for knight. I think it's tough to convert unless you really start to think about the rooks and why they're a better piece. Why is a rook a better piece than a bishop? Well, it has more mobility. You can access more squares. But in a position like this, I'm not sure that's true. I'm not sure that the rook is that much better than the bishop. But the reason a computer will evaluate it as better than the bishop, and why a human should as well, is because of the potential. The potential for the bishop is pretty capped. Like, it's got pawns everywhere, it's just playing defense. The rook, we can open lines, and eventually it'll get in and be able to do more than the bishop. But you don't think about needing to activate your rook to actually tap into the potential of the fact that it is a stronger piece. It's worth 5 points. And you just kind of sit here and say, okay, I got a rook, he's got a bishop. If you don't open the position for the rook, it's not going to be a better piece. Maybe the bishop even does more than the rook in some positions. But once we get an open file, all of a sudden you see both rooks got fully activated, and then it was pretty much dead. Once the guys have open lines, the bishop turns out to be the worst piece on the board, and the two rooks turn out to be the best two pieces. Hello, Ralph Wiggum. Thanks for the 27-month resub, Ralph. Twitch Prime as well. AW, 5 gifted subs. Thing of the 5 gifted AW. Loafinator, tier 2 for 21 months. The Matt Swans, brand new Twitch Prime sub. And Holy Psycho Peb, holy cow, 4 gifted subs. Thank you, Holy Psycho Peb. Welcome if you just joined. You didn't miss much. We played a couple games so far. See Valentinian in the chat. A lot of first-time chatters as well. Do I ever fianchetto the dark squared bishop? Not as white, as black I do. So we're doing the King's Indian attack as white, King's Indian defense as black. King's Indian means the fianchetto always happens on the king side, which means for white, it'll always be the light squared bishop. For black, it'll always be the dark squared bishop, for the purposes of this particular speedrun. Okay. E6. All right, well, this doesn't look like it's going to affect our setup. Sticking with my moves. Probably knight here. F4. Okay, I don't think that move is going to stop me from playing F4, is it? Could still go f4. The other maybe interesting thing though is trying to capture back with the bishop. So maybe it's in my interest to move a knight first. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm contemplating at the moment. Is should I move a knight first or just go for f4? And I'm not actually that sure. Both look pretty good. I'll decide to move the knight. Knight c4, see what he wants to do. Huh, bishop to e7. Well, I'm going to play this move because we all know if you stop your opponent from castling, they're going to be very tilted. It's just a sort of a fact. People don't respond well when they're not allowed to castle. They get very worked up. I think I'm going to do this anyway. Maybe he thinks that I care about these doubled pawns, but I don't. I have the dark square bishop, and I think his king is really going to be suffering here. Remember, it can't castle either way. Players get very frustrated when that happens. Okay, well, don't think it'll be surprising to know that that move is on my mind. c3. Because it always is. I think I will go c3 here. I'm wondering where he's going to put things next, but you know, knight e6 might be time for f5. Continue to open things up. Don't get me wrong, this move is also fantastic, but I'm going to stick with f5 for now. And this looks like he's giving me some material. Maybe it's smart by him though, like sort of give away some material and have an easier position to play. Could definitely see that. Now, what am I thinking here? I'm thinking, obviously, rook takes e4, of course. Or sorry, rook takes f4. Who else is thinking what I'm thinking? This bishop is so damn good. As long as he can't castle, he should be having just a terrible time. Right? Rook takes f4 automatic. Has to be. Now, as for the next move, as for my next trick, I'm not sure we expected this one, but I think it's come time where we need to keep blasting the position. It's time for e5. Just straightforward. The king can't go anywhere. All I want to do is open a direct line to it. That's what I'm thinking with this move. e5. Yep. No, these are moves that could hit pretty hard. e5, for example, knight takes e5, bishop takes here, queen takes, knight takes d6 would win. Knight takes, bishop takes, knight takes, bishop takes, and if knight e3, we have queen a4. Could even throw in queen a4 check first, but yeah, the plan was to take this guy. And here I can even throw in queen a4. And honestly, queen a4 might be just a very accurate move here. Because if king there, bishop g5 is going to essentially checkmate him. And if king there, I mean, I'm bringing in the heavies, you know? There's no way he survives that. Plus, I still got things hanging. Like, bishop takes c8 is already enough. Looks completely winning. Bishop c8, but just saying, queen a4 looks pretty tempting. And if queen d7, number one, I have this. Rook e1 to start, but also just even trading, taking it here, I'm going to be up this bishop. So, yeah, this looks pretty good, I would say. Rook e1 check. Do we want to do that? Not so sure. Not so sure. Because I'm also staring at a win here, you know. When you're staring at a win, I don't know how greedy you want to get. Rook e1, let's say the knight went to e5, you know, kind of overdoing it. At that point, maybe the knight's even safe in some lines. So I think you just keep it simple. One extra bishop, yay. Well, it sort of worked. He never castled, and in the end, I think he kind of paid for it. We'll get our rook to d1 next. I think we have to sort of go on the offense. We can't like play moves like rook b1. At least that's not the way that I would like to play the position. I'd rather go on the attack. Rook takes d6, look to take his stuff. Check. And okay, if I take, he might take here, so I'm gonna play f6, make sure I keep my pass pawn. I think this is probably important. Once I play f6, there's pretty much no stopping the pawn after rook takes f7. Bishop b8, yeah, different styles, Antkicks. I mean, bishop b8, b5. It's never like I'm mating him, so I'd rather just get a pass pawn and say, okay, we're just going all the way. So once I get a queen, then my life is a bit easier. Yeah, sorry, bud. You're not getting that c3 pawn, my dudeski. Not on my watch. Jack. He still has pawn moves, so I'm not overly concerned about stalemating him at the moment. Look at that. He's just enough pawn moves, so it's not stale. Yay. GG. Yeah, king g4 would have been unfortunate. Definitely had to move the king somewhere that it wasn't checked. Not king g4. Impressive. But after bishop h6, I think it's fair to say we all got a good feeling about this game. Knight g8, there's bishop g7 as well. But the position is getting blasted open. I'd say the one thing is not rushing the move f4. I think still f4 is a pretty good move here, but I like this move. You know, I have some ideas like knight e3 to d5, bishop g5, or bishop h6, depending. Right? So there's a few different things to do. Yeah, and then e5 just busted everything open in a good way. I'm threatening knight takes d6 or pawn takes to open things up here. The king looks very vulnerable. Just looks like a very scary position where I'm executing things the way I want. I got my bishop pair, he can't castle, I'm opening up the middle. Feels like sort of a step-by-step process. Let's get another game on that we can learn from, hopefully. We're gonna go for our fianchetto. Knight f6. I wonder if he's gonna play. Oh, I wonder if he was gonna play c4. Well, they'll be uploaded to YouTube as well, Giorgio. So they'll be weekly. You can always find them every Friday on the main YouTube channel. Okay, so I think we're playing. I almost want to call it like one of the main lines. I think it's one of the main lines for this opening. The one thing is that knight d7 sort of runs into e5. Like, it's a little bit unpleasant. you know, there's no space for that knight to move comfortably. And d7 is taken away by my other knight. So playing this to get e5 is not that easy to do right now. For that reason, I think I'm going to play this move. But normally I'd want to go knight d7 and e5 to stay in line a little bit more with our setup. But d5 is no problem. It's closing things up. This is sort of where the King's Indian thrives. Now, there's a lot to be said for knight e7 here. I'm going to play a move knight b8, and I'm mainly going to play this just to reinforce or remind you that you can play this move. Like, a lot of people wouldn't play it just because it's putting the knight back on the starting square, but a lot of times when your knight gets attacked, it's best to go back, because then you can go to d7 and actually access some of the squares that the previous pawn move that hit your knight weakens. So don't be afraid to go back to b8. It's not as crazy as it looks. I'm thinking about a knight here. I think I'm gonna play it. Let's put a little pressure on that guy. Yeah, some people are just afraid to play knight b8 because it's back to the starting square, so it feels like a complete loss of time, and just optically, you're just not happy with the move knight b8, but I wouldn't be so judgmental. Okay, I thought I might get him interested in this. Whoa, that's not the follow-up I expected, though. I'll be honest. So I got the guy's dark square bishop for my knight. Obviously, I am super happy right now. Right, this is my eventual goal. That's what I want. I'm gonna play queen d6 here. I'm kind of hoping for my knight getting to f4. And if he moves this knight, I've got knight takes e4. So my next couple moves are probably going to be a6, b5. If he moves this, which I kind of wanted, now I can take on e4. It's not necessarily clear that I want to do it right now, although maybe I could, but I'm going to move my queen, and I'll simply be threatening knight takes e4 next. So that was my plan. Where do we want to put our queen now? b6, e7. Both of these are possible. e7 does look pretty okay, actually. I think I'm going to look to keep the queens on the board, though. Knight takes e4. Okay, now he goes here, which means I'm going to play this. Okay, he's just gone back. Well, honestly, I don't mind just going back myself. Why the heck not? I'll go b5 next. Yeah, knight d6 looks natural, but I'm keeping my knight here because I have this dream of playing knight h5, knight f4, and that looks pretty natural to me for white, so that's kind of why I had my knight there. But you're not wrong, absolutely. He did it in a good way, by the way. He made sure that there was no knight h5 before he did that. It's absolutely how you want to do things. Now, I'm thinking that knight there makes sense, but we do need... Maybe it doesn't matter because my next move might be f5. So I think I'll play knight e8 now. And f5 could be quite good. He really needs to watch out, as you always do in this opening, for bishop h6 winning his queen somehow. That's going to be the main way he gets into trouble. I like the type of moves he's playing. They feel like they're well thought out. Like, he wants to get rid of his light square bishop. This is like a great plan because we've got some dark square pawns. But he's thinking about his pieces as well, which is great to see. Do I want to take that? Not really. Am I proud to put my bishop on b7? Also not really. But I think I may do so almost just to avoid the trade. But he's really got me thinking here. If I go here, my f5 move's never going to be that good because guess what? He puts his bishop on e6 and my bishop's just a beta going to b7, giving him the good diagonal. I don't think I can let him have that. So I'm going to play f5. And yes, he's going to get his trade, but at least I'm not going to take him and open up the h file. So instead, I'm gonna bring my knight to h5 to f4. That's what I'm hoping here. Rook g1, he's not letting it happen. Let's play c4. I'm still trying to avoid taking for the moment. Just not sure that opening that h file feels so good. Okay, rook f7. I think I might take that pretty soon. I think I'm gonna take that pretty soon. Because now I'm thinking about bringing my rook over. This bishop is still very good long term, but it needs somewhere to go. It doesn't quite have that. If I get this bishop over here, I would certainly be very happy. f3, huh? Okay, well, let's go here. Bring the rook. King h8 might be a good move as well. I think I might do this one. Try to play queen here. Get my bishop out there. I mentioned that, yeah, if I get my bishop here, that's like a big improvement. But this I think must be taken. So the good thing about queen there is that it's at least it's only queen there. Like it's not more than that. Okay. What's my guy doing to me here? I think I'm gonna have to take this, sir. I'm gonna have to take this L on the forehead. Let's go here. Pretty convincing attack, I have to say. So I want to take this knight, but I actually can't do it. Queen takes g7, and I think we gotta play something like this. King over, bishop back. We had our bishops, but we didn't have time to move them, to be honest. We're gonna have to play bishop e8, and we're just in the struggle here. Okay, wait, maybe we win something back here, actually. Maybe you have to deal with a few checks. Suppose we better... This one's never bad to pre-move. So if he's checking me, it's one of those two squares. And otherwise it's illegal. So I'll pre-move that. I think queen e6 makes a lot of sense here. And I do not think we're gonna get a win here. Yeah, so I'm definitely gonna be pre-moving that. What do you want? What do you want? I mean, he did this to himself. He did this to himself. I didn't do anything there. You can't say that was me. That was Buddy. He had a minute. He had like 2 minutes or so. I don't even know. 2 minutes. 10 seconds. Not to mention a minute to 1.5 seconds. You guys can all do this. The exact same thing you just saw. You can all do it with the King's Indian. You've never seen me do stuff like this in my regular games. It's a King's Indian diff. It's a King's Indian diff. This could be you. It's all about the opening. But obviously we gotta put some... I still think this is a bad move by him, but I think he played it well. I don't think this is right, giving up the bishop like that. Very important piece for white. Gotta put some respect on his name. I thought he played very well. Like, pretty much no moves I would really criticize too seriously. Knight d2 to play g5 so that bishop g4 could happen. Like, these moves were all fantastic. And then the patience here, not taking, allowing knight h5 f4, leaving the bishop there. I mean, we don't have to talk about my opponent's position. In fact, he played flawlessly. All the moves are very good. So this is just a good game from white. I don't agree with this decision. I'll say that again and again. This looks nice for black, but I think that the way he played his position after bishop takes knight was great. Like, the plans that he's doing with white here, I would say are pretty advanced, because it's pretty hard to play without the dark square bishop and king's Indian. And I think he did a great job. This is more or less forced. Okay, I mean, at this point, he's just, yeah. The quality of his moves really, really went down after he won a piece. Take on h5 maybe be better. I'm not so sure. I think maybe queen takes g6 when he took hg might have been better than opening up the h file. Probably that's a moment. We got Dede 2014. I think just as a rule, it's a bad sign when the numbers in your name are higher than the numbers that you're rated. That's not usually a good sign. Just a quick little tip there. Okay, I think we've seen the full send before. We've seen the f4, e4, d4, c3. We've seen this before, and I think we just need to start assaulting the pawns a little bit. Takes, get the knight out. Just because now we have the d5 square for our piece. Okay. Looking to attack that guy. Yeah, pressure on this pawn. Trying to put pressure everywhere. Let's see if we can play in decently typical King's Indian style, which is e5. I've got the pin here. And if the pawn gets pushed to d5, my knight is gonna jump into d4 square. Because remember, if bishop takes, that's my entire plan right there. I want to get that dark square bishop for a knight. If I do that, I'm usually in a good mood. Like this. Now I'm in a good mood. Go me. Queen b6, knight d7. These are the moves that I'm looking at here. Knight d7 looks pretty solid. Yes, we will have to give up our bishop here, but we're getting the knight in. Our bishop is on the board, and it's one of the strongest pieces. Seems like the right stuff. Okay, let's hit that rook with tempo. And maybe queen b6 or queen g5 as follow-up moves. The thing is, even if I lose this pawn, I don't even see how that can happen, but if it did happen, I would probably still be in a very good position. I like queen g5. Yes, knight on e3 would be very nice, Joe. You're not wrong. He takes. No. Sorry, but no. That is not gonna cut it. We don't want to trade the knight for light squared bishop. White has light squared pawns. We're going to leave them with their bad bishop. He's going to resign. He wants to get out of there. Get him out of there. It ended up being a very one-sided, you know, pretty much a one-sided game. But the reason is just this. Like, even you'll see players, even at the 1900 level, they just don't understand the fundamentals of the King's Indian. King's Indian positions, like I know this came from like a modern, you could say it's not really King's Indian, but anytime you have the fianchetto bishop like this, if you trade away your bishop for just a knight of that fianchetto bishop, it's gonna be a bad position. Like 95% of the time or higher. So you really have to be careful in this position. Like there would be no strong player who would really consider the move bishop takes d4 seriously, because you just know that the resulting position is going to be bad. Like the dark squares are going to be too weak. Even if you win this pawn somehow, it's still bad. It's still not going to be good. It's going to be a queen b6 check. This bishop is going to be the best piece on the board. So train yourself. This piece is so valuable when you're playing against a fianchetto setup, King's Indian setup. You can't just be giving it away as white. So that's why we're trying to encourage our opponents to do that. And as soon as this happens, it's like, okay, you know, this is this is very, very strong. There we go. Another win. Let's hope the next game is more tolerable. I'm expecting to be very vulnerable here. Okay, we actually got a King's Indian. Yay. Bishop g5. Well, that's gonna get me playing h6. e5. King h7 is always available. Interesting. Okay, I'll play knight h5. Well, I think we gotta play king there. And my point about this bishop, which I've been mentioning, is like that I wouldn't mind getting this bishop even at a cost. So knight f4 takes. I just have the dark square bishop, and in general, I'm interested in positions like that. So I'm even gonna play it right now and see if we can get that. Because I'm saying, dude, this should be good for me. I'm getting, not should be good as in it's better, but this is exactly the kind of position we want. The dark square bishop should basically reign supreme over the position. So that's my hope. That is my hope. Let's see what we can do. f5. How about f5? Takes. Queen e3. It's pretty solid for him though, honestly. We could just go bishop d7. I think I will. Just more calm move. Queen back. Yes. See, every time I itch my head, I'm like, yeah, it could just be like a spider, bro. Like, you could just be in there right now. I think we want to take this. Take and queen h4. Because after queen h4, we have a pretty serious idea of like bishop e5. Start to get on all those squares. Meanwhile, some sacrifice ideas like bishop takes h3. But bishop e5 is a very good. Just that these pieces, they don't seem to work very well in the current position to deal with my bishops. And f5 coming up, nice way to activate things. what's the idea with bishop there? What am I missing? What? Okay, so all I can see is he just hung a bishop. And that's it, he just hung a bishop, I guess. All right, well, I guess what I said was true. Get that dark squared bishop from your opponent. I was a full pawn down, and I'm talking about a full pawn as in there wasn't any specific compensation that should definitely be enough for what I had. I had his dark squared bishop, but I gave away a knight and an entire pawn. So it shouldn't be enough, but it often is. That's just the practical side of chess. The dark squared bishop is so strong and very tough to deal with. Let's play a5. Want to get some open lines, or want to close everything up? Sure, I got an extra piece, man. I'm not concerned. At some point, this move will work, just to trade everything. It's even playable right now, but if f5 takes, now this bishop d4 check to win the queen. So that's my idea with rook e8, setting that up. Okay, I think once again we can go like this. I mean, this move also wins the queen, but this move wins the queen for cheaper. Again, king f7, I think just wins the most material, but this should be more than enough. And put the finishing touches on this game. GG. That was pretty solid. I know it wasn't much, but I'm a big fan of this plan. Like, yeah, I'm down a pawn, a full pawn. Computer will give this +1 something, but it's just very easy to play for black. You trade, get your pieces out. Bishops are easy to develop. Even rook here up to g5 might be an idea. f5 as well. Some sacrifices on f3, but I mean, I didn't really do much this game. Just put the bishop in the middle, and he can't play these moves very easily. So yes, after our spider scare, that was actually a very reasonably easy game. All right, we're gonna have to beat a 2000 to do it. You want to beat a 2000? Beat a 2000. Let's get castled next. Interesting. Okay, well, we're definitely gonna take that. Usually these quick pawn advances in the center, you either just move the knight like this and attack the pawn, take it, or you bring the knight in the middle. I'm probably gonna bring the knight into the middle. Knight d7, there's gonna be e6, very common move by white. He says, look, take my pawn, I don't care about it, but he's gonna double my pawns and make my position a little yucky. So very good thing to look out for. You don't usually want that to happen. I'm probably gonna play knight to d5. Takes, and I'm gonna have 3 pieces attacking that pawn. Well, as it stands, I'm just gonna win a pawn. But that's what happened. I mean, he's playing e5 kind of willy-nilly in the opening here, and all I can see is he's just tossing pawns at me. Thank you there, brah. Appreciate it. Is it time to get that bishop out of the center? You can tell that he really wants to play this move. It just, you know, he's really thirsting for it. This bishop at some point will need to, I think, remove itself from that square. I think I'm gonna go queen d5. There's always checks for my queen. I'm hitting this pawn, even though it's not necessarily my favorite thing to capture. I'm also guarding this pawn, so I can think about moving this bishop. All right, rook there. Now, remember, if he takes, I am threatening queen d4 after that. So technically, I don't even have to move my piece. Am I really gonna just do nothing? Maybe bishop e6 for the boys? Say, look, you take, I got this, man. Queen d4. Haha. All right. We've been attacked. Brutally. Time to move the queen. Man, I don't think I can take that. I just don't have it in me. I think I'm going to play c5 here. Definitely don't have it in me to play queen takes pawn. I'm not like you guys. I'm not able to look at the position and play queen takes a2, all right? It's just not me, okay? Trade more pieces. Well, you'd have to tell me the line there, Master of Ceremony. F5 takes, and what's happening? What the heck is that? Bishop e2. Well, that's not gonna be too difficult. Queen trade. We're up. We're up material. Let's play this. Guard everything and bring a rook to d8 next move. Okay, he's trying to set up some stuff. You gotta respect the grind. Paid actor. Guys, I'm saying at 1900, 2000, there's still a lot of people hanging full stuff. Like tons of serious blunders. Okay, we got the bishop. We're probably gonna anchor it in with h5, h4. And then the king is gonna be trapped there forever. Let's go here. King f1 runs into this. Rook d2, followed by rook d8, and there we go. We're on the only open file in the position, fully open file. And if I ever get a check on the last rank, it's probably gonna lead to mate. So, here we go. First of all, anchor that in. Bishop's not going anywhere. Dude, if you think I care about that pawn, guess again. Could not be further from the truth. I think we might have to take this guy. Again, if I get a check, it's over, but he knows that. He knows what I'm about here. Let's get rid of that bishop. All right, we all know we want to get this move in, but I think we'll be able to just put him in a Zugzwang. That's my plan. So let's go. Do we want to do this? Let's go here. Rook takes, and then we're gonna take here. He's gonna have to take with the rook. Oh, well, he's surprising me at every turn. What is rook e8? Now he goes back rook e7. What the heck? I really want to get the specific position that I'm looking for. So I'm going to repeat once, always repeat. Okay, you decided to play for a win now, Kappa. So we're going to take, and after rook takes, I'm going to play rook e5. Oh, okay, well he did it in a way that he loses his rook, but I'm not going to take it. Unfortunately, I think I have to take it. If I go here, I want to put him in zugzwang, but he has rook f2 and then rook e2. Okay, that's even better. Yeah, he's just getting resigned. Just, you handle it, dude. You resign. I don't have time for this position. Yeah, rook e5, that's why we put the bishop there. It'll always be checkmate on e1. It's a pretty nasty finish. Hey guys, hope you enjoyed the video. As always, if you're not subscribed to the channel, you can do so right here. And don't forget to click that bell and turn the post notifications on. And if you're looking for more of the King's Indian speedrun, you can check it out right here. Thanks for watching.